It's Jan 2023 and there are already PhD notifications floating around. But how do you get admission to PhD? For that, first thing you have to do is to clear an interview. But what kind of questions are asked? How do you clear one? What attitude should you keep during an interview? That all we are going to speak and discuss today. Whether you are of science, arts, commerce, interdisciplinary stream or any kind of subject, whichever masters or BTech you have done, I'm sure today's video is going to help you. A quick announcement I wanted to make before beginning with today's video. I'm planning to start shorts on my channel for obvious reasons. Any time sensitive content such as PhD fellowship, PhD jobs or any kind of thing which has a deadline or a timeline, that I was thinking of putting on shorts. So what is your opinion about it, or is there anything that you want me to cover on shorts? The notifications that we get, any kind of workshop or anything, that is not possible to do a long form video. So I was thinking of converting into a short and releasing it. So what are your thoughts about it? I would love to know in the comments. So tell me. As far as the PhD interviews are concerned, there are two types for obvious reasons. So one is individual interviews, second is group interviews. Okay. So in individual interviews, you are there as a candidate. The person who is the authority or who is taking the interview is there and he takes your detailed interview. So in such cases, there is more accurate judgment and more accurate assessment. When it comes to group interviews, you have around 4 to 5 people in the panel, and what they do is they will ask their questions and you have to answer them. So it's like one to many. Usually what I've observed is that as far as PhD admissions are concerned, the group interviews are considered. At the start of your interview, you don't know which supervisor or which person you are going to work under, okay, unless it's pre-decided. So there are so many people and they all want to see what kind of candidate you are and if you are a good fit for their work. Supervisors also keep looking for PhD candidates because only if they have PhD candidates they will get good publication, and for obvious reasons. One thing is assumed is that you need to know the answers of all the questions. It is not true. Okay, and we will see what kind of questions are asked, where the person who is asking the question knows that the candidate will not be able to answer the question and still the questions are asked. And the reason being that what is your attitude when you do not know the answer to the question? Are you calm enough? Are you able to handle such kinds of questions even when you don't know the answer? See, if you go prepared, there are some questions asked. It's very easy to answer them. Okay, you have that confidence. But when somebody asks you a question which is totally out of syllabus, say suppose, then what kind of demeanor or calm you maintain, that is very important. I've done a detailed video on PhD admission process, including interview, everything, the kind of formalities required, so you might want to have a look. Credential verification questions are those questions which test what you have submitted as data. So you have given, mostly you have given your resume, you have given your mark sheets, whatever. So you need to know what percentage you have got at every step, at every semester, what was your CGPA, what kind of documents you have submitted. Because if you are not able to answer these kinds of questions, then it's likely that the person assumes that you have given some kind of faulty documents. Questions like what was your GPA, how long were you working in some place, if you have any work experience, what were your marks in this particular semester. So you should not be confused by these questions because these are the same things that you have submitted. Moving on to experience verification. If say suppose you were working in some place, then what were your experience, what lessons did you learn over there? If you were teaching anywhere, what subjects were you teaching? And if you were teaching any subject, then what were the techniques or what were the things that were covered? So I would suggest if you have work experience, whether it is teaching or research or any company experience, get your roles and responsibilities correct. What exactly were you doing? What kind of techniques were you doing? Or you were working with some kind of team or any kind of collaboration that you had. everything you need to go through. So if there is any question which comes pertaining to this, you should be able to answer. Opinion questions are those questions which test you in a subjective manner based on your personality. For example, what is your strength? What is your weakness? What did you learn from that experience? How did you tackle the particular situation? Okay, if you were giving reference to anything. So these are some things which are opinion based, and while answering, you need to make sure that you stick to the points. You can give 2 or 3 points max. You need not give an essay. Okay, behavioral questions are objective. So if you have done any kind of project, then what were the different steps that you have done in that particular project? For example, say suppose the questions come related to your masters or BTech or any kind of graduation subjects, then usually at the end of these degrees there are few projects that are given or internship. So what were the exact things that did you learn over there? What were the different steps that you carried out to achieve that particular result? Here it's very important to be detailed, because sometimes the recruiter is looking for a candidate, or your potential supervisor is looking for a PhD candidate who already has experience in that. Okay? And if you have done something which resonates with what your supervisor is working, then obviously that person would be more than happy to take you as a PhD student. Competency questions are strictly your subject related questions. Say suppose I am giving an interview for a life sciences PhD position for Department of Biology, say suppose, and whatever is with respect to that particular area, I need to be thorough about and I need to go. When it comes to any kind of PhD interviews, the subject seems vast. You don't know whether you should be preparing for that particular lab, or you should be preparing from the standpoint of what you have done. What you can do is you can refer through the website of wherever you are going for an interview, and if in the department you have selected a particular supervisor or some person is there in your mind, not selected, somebody is there in your mind that okay, I might want to try to work under this person, then in such cases read up about what work that person has done, and secondly also see if any of your past techniques will be useful in this case. So when they are asking competency questions, when they finished asking the questions, you can just say that you have worked on so and so this. So whoever that person is, that person will be thinking that okay, this person has done work in that field, so he might be good fit for my work. These are very subtle ways to get yourself highlighted. When it comes to competency questions, there are 3 main types of questions that I have seen being asked for a PhD interview. The first one is based on your past accomplishments. If you have done any kind of project or work in the past, research work or teaching work, so you will be asked about that. Second thing that I have noticed, that your supervisor will ask you to pick one area and all the questions will be directed to that. If say suppose you pick one subject, immunology, then all your questions further would come from there. Then third is, if the person who is taking their interview has say suppose an experience in one particular subject, computer electronics or any kind of those chips or anything, he will ask questions from his field. Now obviously it is not possible to prepare for everything. What you can do as an individual is think of one area where you are the strongest, okay, and keep that area in mind in case such thing is asked. Second, go through your projects or anything previous, whatever is going on, and be very thorough. If you are writing it in the resume and if you are saying it, you were good in this subject and you have taught this subject, then any question from that area you should be able to answer. If you are not confident about it, then don't put it in your resume. Third, as I mentioned earlier, you can just brush up about what kind of work is going on in that lab, in that institute, and see how you can relate and bridge the gap between your past experience and the questions they are asking. The sixth type of question is a brain teaser question. Like it will be a random, any kind of bizarre question. Like say suppose somebody asks you what is 1000 divided by 73. Obviously at that moment you will get very bizarre reactions from yourself only. But here nothing to worry about. In brain teasers, the examiner knows that you don't know the answer. Still they ask you to see how you are going to react to it. So either you can calmly say that you will have to calculate, or you can say that you don't know and you would like to answer some other question. You can be frank enough that you are not aware of the answer. Here it's more important to be calm rather than be panicky. Case questions are questions related to your subject, but they are based on the current findings. So if there was any topic from your subject that was in news recently, or if there is any particular problem or major problem that in your field they are not able to solve, then you can prepare for your opinion about it. Now this only you will be able to figure out. So it's best important to see what are the different findings which are happening. So you can refer to journals, or you can refer to even newspaper if in that particular field something is happening, and how, if you were in that position, how you would solve that. So these were the 7 questions which are asked. If you are asked something beyond your topic or anything, there is no need to answer such questions and you can ask for a skip. PhD notifications are going almost twice a year, so you need not worry so much. It's most important that you are calm and collected, and for you to be calm and collected, it will only come from preparation. So I wish you all the best. Go through my PhD playlist, and there are tons of videos on PhD admission, PhD interviews, and if you want any specific topic to be covered, then do let me know in the comments. Till the next time, bye.